Hope for the best and prepare for the worst. That is the theme of today's video. But first, I'd like to wish all the moms out there a happy Mother's Day. Thank you for everything you do for our families, and it doesn't go unnoticed, so let this day be special to you. So, today we're talking about road tripping and the kits that I carry along for my family and myself on road trips. Some of the gear in here is going to be permanent, stays in our car permanently, and then there are other things that we bring along for longer road trips, say a day or multiple days. So I'd like to show you some of the things that we carry in case of an emergency. I'm going to start out with the car itself. So we drive a 2017 Subaru Outback. This is our second Outback. We chose this car for a family car because of the safety ratings. They're pretty much top-notch, and also fuel mileage for a good-sized car is pretty good on these. So the Subaru's been good to us over the years, and that's what we take on road trips. Let's just get into what we keep in our vehicle at all times. So this kit here stays in the vehicle 365 days a year. It's basically just a kit that has a survival blanket, an air compressor, extra flashlights, a few flares, jumper cables, a first aid kit, and a tool kit. Granted, the tool kit isn't very substantial, but just for small repairs, it does the trick. But this is something that we do keep in the vehicle year-round. So if you're not carrying jumper cables and a small first aid kit and that sort of thing, you may find yourself stranded. A lot of people are out there to help you out, and that's a good thing, but we keep this in our car at all times. We also keep a tow strap. As you can see, this one hasn't been used. This kit has a tow strap, but it's not rated for as much weight as this one. But we have kept this in this car since we bought this car. Just thankfully we haven't had to use it yet, but it is in here just in case, and it stays with the spare tire, so it's out of sight and out of mind. And speaking of spare tire, I think a lot of people, when they go on a road trip, they kind of forget to check the air pressure on that tire. So if you do have a flat on a trip and then you go to change your tire, a lot of times people will find that that tire has been deflated. So check that before you take off on your road trip. Before you load your car up, check the PSI on your spare. And speaking of the kind of road trips that we do, we've traveled quite a few times down to Florida, so that's at least a day or a day and a half, but we've done quite a few cross-country trips over the years. And it's funny, I think about the trips that I took in my 20s. I wouldn't have given these kind of things a second glance. I mean, I would have been lucky to have had a flashlight. But as time goes on and you start to have a family, you start thinking about things like that and things that could leave you stranded. So yeah, we just a few years ago we drove out to Colorado, and I remember I had packed a few things that I normally wouldn't have packed in the past, just for scenarios that could see us stranded. Okay, another item that I like to carry on the road for multiple day trips especially is this JNC Air. And this is a dual component system. It has jumper cables and it has an air compressor. So what I do before leaving for a trip is I charge it overnight and give it a full charge. This is a heavy duty jump and carry. This is something I definitely carry on road trips, because if you ever find yourself with a dead battery, but you're in a place that either nobody has jumper cables, or say you're dispersed camping somewhere where there's nobody else around, this definitely comes in handy. It can jump a battery off. I mean, truckers use this, so you can tell it's heavy duty. So I remember to pack this every time. And another thing that we don't leave home without is a first aid kit. Now, there is a small one that we keep in the glove box, and there's another small one on this kit that I showed you previously, but they're just minimal, a few bandages and that sort of thing. We have a few kits. We actually have one bigger than this that we'll take occasionally. but this has more than just a couple Band-Aids in it. So very important to keep a first aid kit on you. Something new to our car kit, and I use for overlanding and camping in general, but on trips now we take the Jackery. Now this is the smaller, this is the 300. It does have, it's a good way to keep our devices charged, but also for lighting. If we do happen to find ourselves stranded and you know, we can't crank the car and there's no lighting, of course we have flashlights and stuff like that, but we can keep things lit, we can keep things charged, and also I pack a little small fan. This Jackery will run that fan. So say we're traveling in July and it's 90 to 100 degrees outside and we are stranded on an interstate somewhere, and we, you know, for whatever reason we have the car turned off and the AC's not running, we can at least run a little fan. So the Jackeries come in handy for a lot of reasons. Power outages at the house, but on the road it's definitely a nice addition. So something else that we keep in the car, a lot of people probably overlook this, and you know, I'm not going to lie and say that we remember to carry this every time, but it's a good thing to have a fire extinguisher. You just never know. I mean, you know, I've actually been in a car before that caught on fire. Fortunately, the person behind us had a fire extinguisher and was able to put the fire out before it became a full-on blaze. So something to remember, fire extinguisher, especially on a long road trip, very important. This is how we drink water around the house, but on a road trip, we take these refillable 3-gallon jugs. We have 2 of them. So, you know, on a trip where we're cross country or even to Florida or to the beach, Carolina beaches or something like that, we carry these. We all have insulated water bottles, so we stay hydrated. And so in a stranded situation, I keep thinking about that situation that happened back in the winter on I-95 in Virginia, where all those people got stranded for 20+ hours. If that happened in the dead of summer, you would want to stay hydrated. So these 3-gallon, 2 of these 3-gallon water jugs, refillable, is what we go, is the way we go. Another item that we always try to keep in the car are several blankets. And so you would think that this would be just a wintertime package, but it actually gets pretty cool in the summer too, especially in places like in the desert or out in Colorado or somewhere like that. A stranded situation, even in the summertime, could be a bad situation. So try to keep a couple blankets in your car on your road trips, and you'll be glad you did if you find yourself stranded on a cold night. So the get home bag, the bug out bag, I've done a previous video on, and you're more than welcome to go back and peruse that video for the contents. And I'm not going to spill all the contents out of this bag, but this bag goes everywhere I go, and especially on a road trip. It has contained a good way to contain a lot of items. There are flashlights in here, there's food in here, which I forgot to mention. On a road trip, we keep a big box of snack food, so good to have, you know, some sustainable type of foods, energy bars. I've got a way to actually cook food out of this bag, so if we found ourselves, like I said, somewhere stuck for quite a few days, or quite a few hours rather, there's a way to heat up food. There's other items in here, you know, I mentioned flashlights, but there's other items that, there's an extra blanket in here, you know, there's gloves for any kind of, you know, changing a tire or something like that. So, yeah, so I think that's about it on what we carry. I hope that the video has been informative. Like I said, I mean, I haven't had too many bad experiences on road trips, and maybe I never will, but at this point in my life, I've got more to think about than just myself. So, you know, my family is the most important thing to me, so I want to keep us safe and warm and hydrated and all that good stuff. So anyway, short video, but I hope you took something from it, and I hope everybody has a great day, and happy Mother's Day. Peace.